have I ever told you the story about how Aesop and I went to a water park for the very first time? Yes. So as the story goes, it was probably 5 or 6 years after we left my home country in Mexico. And Aesop and I were looking for things to do. And I looked at Aesop and I'm like, well, do you want to go to a water park? And Aesop was like, yes. And again, I don't speak donkey very well, but I believe that is, yes, I would love to go to a water park. So naturally.
You're right.
Oh, yes. I forgot he speaks the rock English.
Yeah, I speak Americanese.
Alright. Anyway, so Aesop and I decided to head to a water park for the very first time. And we get there, and it looks so amazing. There's rides everywhere, and there are lots and lots of delicious foods to eat on the side. And there's slides, and there's even a couple of floaties, because child safety, of course. And so, Aesop and I, we walk up, and we're like, hey, we want to ride one of those rides. And the guy who was in charge of the line, he looked stupid. He had big glasses on his face. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You work at a stinking swimming place, a water park. Why do you look like a nerd?
4 eyes.
Oh my, no, don't say that. That's offensive. Good grief. But anyway, the dude looked at us and he's like, you can't come in here. You have a donkey. Donkeys aren't allowed in here. I know. I was like, Aesop, calm down. I'm sure I can work something out. And so I looked at the man and I'm like, are you sure there's absolutely no way for you to get Aesop into the beautiful, beautiful swimming park of yours? Because in my home country in Mexico, they don't have any swimming parks. They just have oceans, which I guess are okay, but it's not the same.
Tastes salty.
It does, and I hate salt when it comes from the ocean. So anyway, the dude looked at me and he looked at me like I was a fool. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, I'm sorry, we still can't. It's a donkey. You know what would happen to people if they saw a stinking donkey running around a water park? And I was like, they might think it's one of the attractions? And he's like, no, you idiot. So naturally, I was very upset that my donkey and I could not both get into the water park. But then I realized I could trick the water park technicians and all the people who work there. And I looked at Aesop, and I was like, Aesop, I've got a plan. Do you trust me?
Maybe.
Well, just go with it, because it's going to be a great plan. And so naturally, the first step was to find a human costume. Because my elaborate plan required my donkey dressing up like a human. What a genius scheme. I'm so clever.
You know, I can speak a little bit of Americanese.
Yeah, that was not the part that we weren't had to worry about so much. Anyway, so naturally, I got him in a human suit and we came back and I'm like, hello, my little nerdy idiot. Can you let us into the water park now? And he looked at me and then he looked and he's like, where's your buddy? I'm like, oh, you mean that stupid donkey? Yeah, I left him behind. And
yeah, hey, we left him behind.
yes, because we're cool. I'm gonna try this flare gun thing. Let's see. Oh crap, the marauders. I'm going to stay over here. Anyway, so the dude's like, alright, fine. Just so long as you two know the rules. You're not allowed to run by the pool. I just stopped listening at this point. I'll run past him. I'm like, did you just say something about run faster? Because I'm fast. Because I am fast. So naturally, me and Aesop are like, what are we gonna ride? There are so many rides to ride. What a ride! And I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. So Aesop chose the first one. And do you remember the the first ride you chose? Because I do not. It was all just water and sliding and stuff.
The Daredevil.
Yes, it was the Daredevil. Thank you for reminding me. My Mexican brain is very, very short. Just like me. I'm not saying all Mexicans are short. I'm merely making a comment about myself. Please don't be offended. I mean, no offense. But anyway, we got on the Daredevil. And as we were going on it, I comment to Aesop, I'm like, this is the greatest ride of my life. Only, there was so much water in my mouth though that it sounded like... And I remember Aesop looking at me and he's like, what? I'm like, oh crap, I can't speak American when I'm actually riding a ride. Holy crap, who just destroyed the helicopter? Oh, I got a man. Hey, someone swimming towards you, American. Oh, it's a dagger. Hey. So I'm trying to shoot this man and I'm not very good at it. And I'm going to run away now. No, it's a marauder. He's going to swim after me, of course. As we're riding the Daredevil, it was a cool slide with lots of turns and twists. As we were riding, Aesop's costume started coming off. And you started to see his nose and his ears and, worst of all, his left tooth. Yes. Now, you may be wondering why his left tooth was so bad. Well, the answer to that is because it wasn't his right tooth. I kid.
I'm not a dentist either.
Oh gosh, I did not need to know that. So as we're getting out of the ride, everyone sees that Aesop's a donkey. And they're like, oh my goodness, a donkey? And I'm like, yes. But then that nerdy kid came running after us and he's like, hey, I thought I told you guys now donkeys are allowed. I'm like, what are you talking about? This is not a donkey. This is a man dressed like a donkey. And he's like, really? I'm like, yes, of course, you fool. What do you think I am? Some dumb person? And apparently he did, because he started chasing us. And naturally, Aesop and I enjoy a good chase, so we started running away from him, because it was very fun. And granted, because you're at a water park, and you're not supposed to run by the water, and well, we just did that. But as we were running away, we saw something to our left, and I'm like, what's that? And I was like, Aesop, do you know what's on our left?
Duck.
It was a duck, but I knew I'd seen this duck before. 6 years ago, when I was leaving Mexico. This duck was the same ducks that I had seen standing outside of the Mexican cartel. I know, it was like, it looked really dumb. It had an eye patch over one eye, and it had a cigar in its mouth. I'm like, dude, you're smoking at a water park. What's wrong with you? And he just kind of quacked at me.
Wait.
Yeah. Apparently Aesop can do donkey, and also duck.
In Americanese.
Apparently. Well, as the story went on, the duck saw me, and I saw the duck. And we were like, whoa, we know each other. And so the duck started chasing us, because I may or may not stolen his plane pass to get to America. So he was not a happy camper. He actually had to fly all the way here instead of taking the plane. Which I'm like, dude, you got 2 wings. Use your daggum wings, you lazy duck. Anyway, so the duck started chasing us, and he pulled out a gun, and he started shooting the gun, and I'm like, oh my goodness, he's got a gun. Yes. And then he shot me in the back, and I'm like, oh no, Aesop, save yourself. And
See ya.
yeah, that's basically what happened. I never realized how little Aesop needed me until that moment. He just totally abandoned me. But
Worry, I'll provide a cover.
yeah. The funny thing is though, I actually was okay. Because the gun, it was a water gun. And so I'm like, you stupid duck, you don't know the difference between a water gun and a real gun. And then he looked at me and he just started quacking. It's like how a duck laughs, it's a quack. Exactly. And then he called down his little Mexican phone. All of his buddies from the Mexican cartel. And so naturally I didn't think he was gonna actually get them to show up. So I'm like, you stupid duck. Go ahead and call your stupid friends, you stupid duck. And I just continued to ride the water slides with my friend. And would you believe it that the Mexicans actually showed up? I was amazed. I remember it as clear as day. I was standing on top of the actual water slide, the last water slide there. And I look and I see all the Mexican guys coming in talking to that nerd with the glasses. Couldn't stand it. They start chasing me because I had stolen a passport. And I'm like, ooh, fun, chase. A chase scene. And next thing you know, there's some really cool music being played. It's like, I'm like, Aesop, I didn't know you brought our jukebox here.
It's kind of heavy.
Yeah, it was very heavy. But it was fun. So we enjoyed it. We'd spent the next hour trying to catch him. Oh no, I got knocked. I was trying to use the flare gun. Don't do it! Son of a crap cake. Well, that's what I get for trying too hard. But anyway. We started riding all the water slides to get away from him. And it was actually a ton of fun. Because he was just like, the Mexican cartel were like, get back here. And I'm like, no, we're just gonna play. In the water park. Oh no. And would you believe it? They didn't catch us. It was unbelievable the fact that they didn't catch us. And it was at that point that I remember telling Aesop, Aesop, you are a good friend of mine. If anything ever happened to me, what would you do? And I will never forget what he said as we were leaving the water park.
Love you, man.